Stan's a noted clicker thief, so don't just leave your clicker laying around. Stay around. Great. So we're here now. My role is to talk about one very specific regulatory opportunity to address many of these issues. As Stan has already pointed out, and as other folks in this room who work on these issues can say, it's not the only one. There's a lot of ways that we're all trying to sort of get at the same problem here. You know, the fundamental problem of transitioning from a dirty energy system to a cleaner one. The work that Stan spoke about, very important. He will certainly be involved in. We'd urge everyone to get involved in as well. But let's jump into talking about another one, to talking about an opportunity that we have now to, we hope, affect a decision the EPA will be making, which we hope will lead to significant reductions in coal power pollution. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. So in order to talk about this, we need to talk about the Clean Air Act. And the Clean Air Act dates back to 1967. And since then, it's had a series of, let's say, updates or sort of elaborations over the years. I think there have been 4. And, you know, it is objectively one of the most successful pieces of legislation in not just American history, but world history. I know there's at least a few of us that were in the room for a lecture up at the University of Utah from a law professor from Maryland, I think that's where he was from. And there's a number of us that were there, and it was incredibly interesting, all the details of the Clean Air Act and where it came from, critical moments where it could have gone one way, but it went the other way. But he really made clear to us that globally, countries around the world look to the Clean Air Act and look to the United States for how much success we've gotten from that. And so we're going to drill down and talk about one of the specific facets of it, something called the Regional Haze Rule. So in 1977, the Clean Air Act put into effect a goal. And the goal was to improve visibility in national parks and other what are called Title I areas, which are wilderness areas, places that we want to make sure they're pretty. And so that was 1977, but it didn't quite have teeth then. It was a goal, but there wasn't real clear, strict ways to figure out how to get there. So in 1990, under President Bush, the first one, of course, are you guys really looking forward to the day when there's been 3? And then we'll have to say, well, that was the father, but not the older brother. That was the younger brother. So that'll be great. I'm really looking forward to that. Which Bush, which Clinton? So under the father Bush, they passed the Clean Air Act amendments, which gave the visibility standard a lot more specificity. And I want to go ahead and stop and play a little bit of the signing ceremony from when then President Bush signed this bill, because I think it is really interesting. So I've got to go ahead and we're going to play 2 different clips from it. Oh, it may just take a second to buffer. Nothing like some C-SPAN music, huh? To set the mood here. Let's see if it'll jump forward.
But I believe this really is a true red letter day for all Americans. Today we add a long-awaited and long-needed chapter in our environmental history, and we begin a new era for clean air. This last weekend I spent some pleasant hours up at Camp David, and Saturday and Sunday really were fantastic, clear and crisp and beautiful, bright sunshine and those magnificent fall colors, and it was great to get out in the woods. But no American should have to drive out of town to breathe clean air. And every city in America should have clean air. And with this legislation, I firmly believe we will.
Okay, we'll jump forward to one more clip. Am I the only one that only hears Dana Carvey?
But it does more. The legislation sets reasonable deadlines for those who must comply, but once deadlines go by, once they pass, the penalties are severe. America's heritage is precious. We will not turn our backs or look the other way, and that means polluters must pay. And so there is a new breeze blowing, a new current of concern for the environment. And today marks a great victory for the environment, the day when we have strengthened our clean air statutes, already the world's toughest. This legislation is not only in America's interest. Like so many of the environmental issues that we are working on, this bill is in the interest of people all over the world. And the new environmental ethos is growing. We see it in community efforts and in school involvement across America. And we're seeing it in the innovative response of private industry, in alternative fuel service stations, electric vehicles. These companies understand we must pioneer new technology, find new solutions, envision new horizons if we're to build a bright future in a better America for our children. There's an old saying, we don't inherit the earth from our parents, we borrow it from our children.
Isn't that extraordinary? I have like 600 reactions, and it's, I think you probably all do too, but isn't it an amazing illustration of where our political dialogue has gone? And, you know, that was a Republican president, and he said those things, and really something. But I think that really the point of that was to show it was a historic bill, and it did give a lot of specificity and goals and targets and teeth to what had been sort of decent standards, but weren't quite enforceable is one of the words. And so everything takes forever. If you work on Clean Air Act issues or air quality and work on any of these things just take an awful long time. There's often legal things that happen, things get challenged, things play out. So it took the EPA till 1999 to finalize that rule of exactly what this regional haze, this visibility standard would look like. So, you know, why do we care? You know, we've all heard of the Great Smoky Mountains, and we have some sense, I think, that there are parts of the United States where views are obscured, but is Utah one of those places? Is the Southwest one of those places? And I feel like I'm lazy because I'm turning over part of my talk to some other folks, but we're going to watch a short video from the National Parks Conservation Association, which is one of the main groups that works on this. And this is very specifically a video on regional haze issues in our area.
I grew up around the Four Corners region of the Nation, and we have two existing coal-fired power plants there in the region, and they're two of the worst polluters in the United States for carbon dioxide emissions, for mercury, for nitrous oxide emissions, and the power plants definitely play a large part in the regional haze in our area.
This is a 40-year-old facility built before the majority of our environmental laws. There's provisions that require these facilities to upgrade and meet technology standards. And this facility has been identified as a major contributor to regional haze and air pollution and decreased visibility. And national parks and other important areas here depend on clean air.
Most of the area in the Four Corners region, at least the Native American lands, has been categorized by the Department of Energy and the Office of Surface Mining to be a national sacrifice zone.